Welcome to Spiritual Truths with your host, Kerry Marie. Today, I'm delighted to have with me Greer Sweetman, who is a trained astrologist. And she's got a lot of information that she can share with you today about astrology, why she became an astrologist, how she trained, and what she can offer you, and give you insights, talking about charts, and how the planets influence you. If you like this podcast, please like, and please join our podcast series by subscribing. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here and watch and listen to this. Blessings and love, Kerry Marie. Morning, Greer.
Hi.
Yeah, I was so looking forward to this podcast.
Yes.
And we're here today to talk about astrology. And also want to say thank you for coming. It's really nice that you're a busy lady. You're a mum.
Yes.
And it's great that you've spent this time to come along and share with us today about astrology, because that's such a fascinating subject. It's something that I've never delved into, but I've got an overall idea about it. And I think it's very real and very true. So if I can just ask you, what drew you into doing astrology in the first place?
So the way that I kind of went down this path was I went to get a tarot reading with a lady, and it was awesome. It just didn't quite answer specific questions, and she was
Right.
like, go see my friend Kath. And so I went to see Kath, and it really just hit the nail on, all the
Right.
things that I kind of wanted clarity on. And I think within that first session of having that reading, I just was in awe of how she could just look at this piece of paper with just these symbols and just
Wow.
have so much to say. And I just knew in that moment that I wanted to learn it, not necessarily go out and be an astrologer, but I knew that, from that moment, I really wanted to learn it.
So it gave you a lot of insight.
Yes.
Yeah, so what star sign are you?
I'm a Virgo.
Oh, well, I see, perfectionist.
Yeah, perfectionist, anxious, analytical. So that's why I like to analyze.
So the Virgos get anxious.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Is that because I want everything to be right, or
well,
overthink things? Yeah.
Yeah, overthink, and they're ruled by Mercury, the planet Mercury. So Mercury is all about the mind, and yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's really interesting.
Yes.
So obviously you decided you saw Kath.
Yes.
Is that Catherine Tuttle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you decided that you wanted to learn that, is that right?
Yes, yeah.
So you can tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so I went down a path of learning with her, and then when I got to a certain level, Fern Mercer then continued to teach me, and between those two, they really helped just lay the foundations of learning all the basics with astrology. And then I've done other courses later on, like through medical astrology and online
medical
courses.
astrology.
Yeah, like just doing a few courses, learning about seeing people's charts through the lens of a medical kind of perspective.
We can delve into that. That sounds interesting. So okay.
Yeah.
So go back into that in a minute. Actually, I'll go back to that medical one, because that's sort of so you mentioned that you had a tarot card reading.
Yes.
And that you decided it was good, but it was not deep enough for you.
Yes.
And needed more. So my next sort of question is, does it give you a greater insight to yourself, who you are, how you work, your difficulties, your positive things, dealing with relationships, all that sort of thing?
Yes.
How does it personally help you like that?
Yes, yeah. So, I mean, it depends when you go to an astrologer in your life. I think if you go when you're quite young, it can be a lot more eye-opening, because obviously you haven't evolved, and you haven't learned a lot along the way. But, basically when you're looking at a chart, you're looking at the whole psychological makeup of someone. So, their star sign, which everyone knows about, is, that's only one element of so many things. So you've got your moon, which is all about your emotions and what you need to feel emotionally nurtured. Mercury in your chart, which, that's looking at how you think, how people, how you communicate to people. and then you've got so many planets. So each planet is just giving you a flavor of a deeper part of their psychological makeup.
So basically it's about when you're born under those planets.
Yes.
And how does that affect you?
Yeah. So we do obviously evolve, and so I think our chart is, even though it may look static, it's always kind of, I feel like it's always kind of showing you a new layer of yourself. And you can go to astrologer to help you understand how is your chart being affected in that moment. So the transits, right now we've just had a lunar eclipse in Virgo, for example. So where is that highlighting your chart? And that gives us a deeper insight into, okay, well, it's affecting you in this area. So maybe relationships are, being a big part of what's going on in your life at the moment. Or for someone else, it could be their health. Maybe you're needing to look more into, what you're doing. And so that's...
So when you're born...
Yeah.
You come as a little baby, you're born.
Yeah.
And then because you're born under those planets, that influences who you are.
Yes.
How does that work?
Yeah, so
it's quite a deep question. I know,
I'm like, how do I take this deeper? So I guess you can say it's like your constitution. This is your constitution, and I guess when we're growing up, and maybe you're getting conditioned through your family, through your culture, through your environment, maybe that's altering a bit of how the expression is able to be expressed, and so that's why maybe you might go to a reading and be like, some of it, it was true, or some of it didn't really ring. And I would just say, I think there's more to explore within yourself, So I think sometimes it can be to do with maybe you haven't quite evolved into some of these areas, or because of your conditioning, it's kind of altered how your expression's coming through.
Because I'm really surprised how you can be born in these planets, when you're born, how it does. I mean, I definitely can tell people's, how they behave under their, under their planets.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And it's definitely who they are.
Yes.
It's amazing, extraordinary how they actually, it must be like the energy of those planets go into people or something.
Yes.
I'm just trying to work it from a scientific point of view,
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Well,
it's incredible, really.
Yes.
Because you think somebody could be like a premature baby, or a baby born late, or it can change the planets that they're born under.
Definitely, and that is a bit of a grey area. It's like, wow, is this how they were meant to come into the world?
Yes, exactly.
I do find that quite an interesting area too, because I mean,
it's all about energy, isn't it? Really?
Yes,
it's all about energy. Okay, that's interesting.
And we can actually tell through looking at someone's chart a bit of the flavour as to how they were brought into the world. What kind of did happen. Certain planets might be near what's called their rising sign or their ascendant, and that gives you a bit of an idea as to maybe something quite traumatic happened just before, i.e. like an emergency C-section or something like that. So you can actually see a bit of the story as to how they came into the world.
It would be so interesting for my son to do that, my oldest son.
Yeah.
Because he was an emergency Caesar.
Okay, yeah.
And he's a Sagittarius.
Okay, yeah.
And he was sort of, and really intelligent, full-on person. Yeah. Really full-on, yeah.
Yes.
Full-on child as well.
The ever-inquiring mind of the Saggy, yeah.
They've got inquiring minds, have they?
Yeah, they're just always questioning everything, yeah.
Oh, are they?
Yes.
I'm married to one.
Oh, okay.
Quite interesting. I'm a Capricorn, he's a Sagittarius.
Oh, Capricorn, yeah.
Yeah, so quite different.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, you got to sort of understand each other, I think.
Yeah, I'd say you're more of the anchor and that rock and that stable person, and then you've got the Sagittarius.
But it's really interesting because I am probably that stable one, and he has those characteristics, but at the same time, practically, he's the one that's, I often say he's my anchor.
Right.
So he's so practical and logical and really good at that sort of side of things, and I'm more emotional and sensitive. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yes, and I
In
guess
some ways, he's my rock sometimes too. So it switches,
and that's where I guess getting into the person's chart is so invaluable, because it's, you'd be looking in your moon sign or your rising sign or your Mercury,
Yeah.
these planets might be in water signs, which is where that more emotional side or sensitivity comes in for you. And then maybe for him, he's got a little bit more of the earth planets in his Mercury or his moon, which allows him to be more practical. So he has, there's one flavor of him that has this Sagittarius,
But he does
quality.
music. He's a musician as well. So
Yeah.
So it's the Sagittarius side.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Yep.
creative.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, so we're talking about, so you understand your own personal star sign. So how can you benefit? How can someone benefit from just knowing their own personal star sign? Because it starts with yourself, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I think the more consciously aware you are of yourself, the more you can, I guess, channel your energy more constructively. And I think the more you know yourself, the better you are at showing up to be in some sort of relationship with other people.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you can channel. What did you say? You can channel your energy. Say that again.
Yeah, you just channel your energy more constructively. So
channel your energy more constructively. I love that.
Yeah. I think that's why I love it. It's like, yeah, you can just
be authentic.
Yes. And that's why, again, I like when people go on about their sun signs, I'm like, no, there's just so much more to it, like we're all so unique. You can have someone with a sun in Capricorn, for example, and that might be placed in the 12th house. So the way that your sun presents itself is through the lens of this more spiritual, emotional, sensitive, psychic flavor, whereas someone else with a Capricorn sun, they might have their sun in the 6th house, and that means they channel their sun in a more practical, health orientated, medical.
Well, interesting. I used to be a nurse, so.
Oh, okay.
Interesting, yeah. I heard spirit, if you don't mind me saying, talk to me, and you're talking about that, and they said to me about being like knowing your chart and who you are, what your star signs are, and the influences. They said, and tap into it. So that's what I'm getting. It's almost they're saying tap into it. So for anyone that's looking at getting a chart done, tap into that, which means go into it.
Yes, because there's so many secrets and well, it's not even secrets. There's so many tips that you can see in your chart, like how to make money. Like maybe you're better at doing these sorts of jobs in order to bring in more money. So that is tapping into the energy that you've come in with,
I see.
Yeah.
Tapping into it. That's what I just, because I heard them say to me to tap into it.
Yeah.
And then they said tap into it and then take charge.
Ah, yes, yeah.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
That's really interesting. That's what I heard them say. They're talking to me here.
Yes.
Okay. So we talked a little bit about planets influencing. So, like I said, under Capricorn, but I don't know if I'm influenced by Gemini or not, but I think I was, and I think my husband might be as well. I think someone told me that. But how does something like being influenced by Gemini moon affect you?
Yeah, so each planet kind of has its own psychological aspect of your makeup. So the moon is very much about your emotions, what you need to, what it takes to make you feel emotionally nourished, and maybe how you express your emotions. So someone with a moon in Gemini needs to talk through their emotions. It's really important that they talk.
It's me.
And so if someone has their moon, say, I don't know, in Aries, they might not necessarily need to talk so much. They actually need to do a lot more physical exercise to really channel and nurture themselves. Does that make sense? So
I do.
So yeah, so that's kind of how the moon.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. It's quite interesting. I pick it up when I do Pilates a lot of days in the mornings, and I can pick up with people, and I'm a bit of a chatterbox, so how are you? Yeah, because people go into it, and some people just know that don't talk to me today.
Yeah.
Like I'm just here and I really want to process whatever I'm going through my... They don't need to say anything to me because I know exactly what's going on. Leave me alone.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and I can tell when they come in and it's like something's going on for them.
Yeah.
I would never say anything to them. I'm just very aware. I don't go there thinking I'm going to analyze everybody, but I'll just notice someone. I think something's going on for you at the moment. You need to be left alone, and your Pilates is going to help you process whatever it is you're going through.
Yeah, cool.
And
yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely a person that, as my son will know, Andre, I like to talk. I have to process my emotions. I got to have a really close friend or girlfriend. I says, I'm really upset about something. Can I just talk to you?
Yeah.
My friends watching this will laugh.
Yeah, well, I mean, doing something like this, this
Yeah.
actually emotionally fulfills you,
Yeah, it
asking
does.
questions, being
Yeah.
inquisitive. Those
Yeah,
are the
it
sorts
does.
of things that Moon and Gemini just thrives off.
Yeah, it is. And also, I'm a 3, which is a 3 is very
Yes,
expressive
yeah.
and communicate. I'm a 3 baby born 3 life path, so 3 is very expressive
Yes.
and communication.
Yes.
And I learnt from a counsellor once, he said that some people are internal processes. So some people will go like more into themselves. So
Yes.
I would say that my husband's probably born on a different planet because he goes more into himself.
Yeah.
I can tell something's going on for him when he's upset, and he'll end up talking about it. He goes into himself.
Yes.
Where
yeah.
some people have to talk about it.
Yes. Yeah.
And that explains a lot, doesn't it?
And I think that's
Yeah.
why I think understanding other people's charts and your own it's just such a lovely thing because it helps you to accept who they are as a person. I mean,
The differences.
and actually being like, oh, that's what makes them them. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have astrology to help you get to that place, but I think it's a cool tool that does help you get to that place.
This is really interesting. I'm going to go back to when I had this job, and I had this guy that I worked with. He was very sort of like this, very lovely guy, but I used to frustrate him a lot because I was a salesperson.
I was going to say sales is a very Gemini quality.
Yeah, and so I used to have to give him the orders and everything, and I'd interrupt him. They put me on a communications course, and I suddenly realised that's who he is. And my desk is always a mess, and his was perfect. And so what I started doing when I did this course, I wrote a note for him, and I used to put it on his desk, and I'd say, can you organise this order? And he'd come, this order from, he'd come along, and he'd read the note, and he'd put it down, go like this, and then he'd get on with his work, and he did it. And I came in the next day, he tidied my desk for me.
Oh my goodness.
That's just that was a communication course. It's the same sort of thing, isn't it? I see where someone else is coming from.
Yes.
Because I was driving him nuts, interrupting him.
Yes. Yeah, totally. That's just who he is, and this is who you are, and it's trying to figure out, all right, how do those energies...
I would have driven him nuts, poor good
yeah.
But we actually ended up getting on quite well.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because you can't change someone else, but you can change yourself.
Yes.
So it's really helpful, isn't it?
Yes.
It's really helpful.
I mean, for me, that's where astrology has helped me accept people. Obviously, it'll be a different journey for other people, but for me...
Can you tell us more about that? That's interesting.
I guess... So, what's a good example? I guess Venus is Venus tends to show our love language and how we express our love. And I think, it's not just love. It can be in friendships or, co-workers or whatever. And so understanding that we do all have this different love language, and that's actually their form of, giving you love. Right. Instead of you being like, I need this, or, it's like, oh, that is, so if you can't accept that, then it's like, well, it helps you to accept that actually you can't change, like that is just kind of who they are,
So there are five love languages. Have you read that book? It's called Five Love Languages. It's been
on my list to read for so long. I do want to read that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's like words of affirmation, and it can be physical touch, and it can be gifts, and I think there's acts of service is another one.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the other. Physical. Okay, there's 5 of them.
Yeah.
And it's such a good one to understand.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know my husband is like acts of service, and I'm probably more like words of affirmation.
Yes, yeah.
It's just who I am.
Yeah.
It's not that I need external validation, but it's just having the affirmation,
Yes, yeah. Words are what you need
Oh,
to hear
quality
the
time's the
words.
other one. Quality time. And I think I'm a quality time person.
Yeah, yes.
And so if someone's not just giving you extra service for not giving you quality time, you feel you're missing out.
Yes, yeah, yeah, exactly. So
And
it's
you're missing much. You must read that book.
yes, yeah. No, I will. It's actually on my list.
Yeah, because apparently people, when they first meet someone, they try to do everything and then they just go back into who they naturally are.
Yes, yeah. And this is the thing. It's like everyone takes, I guess, a different road to get there. And for me, I guess astrology's helped me kind of get
Yeah,
to
I
that.
understand that, but
Yeah,
it's a really
yeah,
good book,
yeah.
especially with what you're doing. Okay,
Yes,
okay. So I
yes.
just poked myself in the eye. So I got here, certain star signs, how they assist you, we talked about that, different, dealing with, say people with different values than you and different personalities. So I feel like the pandemic was really polarizing.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was very divisive,
Yeah.
Yeah, and very and people, I just really saw people's personality come out and people with strong opinions and the world's sort of a bit of a mess at the moment.
Yeah.
And people got these different personalities, they react differently, and they've got different values. How does astrology help you with that?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I feel like the hardest thing about that situation was I feel like there was a lot of external environmental control,
Right.
but that doesn't mean that people can still show up authentically. But yeah, I feel like
People reacted differently, though.
yes,
That's what I mean. More not their beliefs, more their reactions.
reaction, yes, yep. And I guess how do I answer that? I think that's where if you do have certain planets in certain areas, you are likely to be a lot more affected, like really take on what's going on a lot more.
I did.
So absorbing everything. So if you've got more watery planets, then that sort of situation would have made people go quite depressed and not see the light in it all. And then people that maybe had a bit more fire in their charts, I feel like they would have been a lot more outspoken about, what's going on, whether what they're saying is correct. They would have just been a lot more angry
like
and
that,
outspoken.
Yeah.
And then you would have had other people that kind of are just in the middle, just kind of like, yeah.
I got really
guess.
emotional, like when it was for this pandemic, I got really upset and I got really emotional and cried a lot in the beginning. And I remember seeing my friend, I started crying. I could just feel it was going to cause a lot of misery.
Yeah, yep.
More of an empathetic way.
Yep.
Like I felt that was going to really affect everyone. And I felt really emotional. But then my Capricorn must have come. I thought, okay, what am I going to do about this? And I got quite practical about it. But I really noticed people reacted differently.
Yes.
And some people I know, and I think they're quite staunch.
Yep.
And my friends changed. Some of my friends sort of changed over that time. And it was just, so I'm sure it's something to do with their astrology.
Yeah, a lot of astrologers actually talked about a certain configuration that was leading up to that point. No one knew exactly what was going to happen, but they knew whatever was going to happen on a global stage was going to affect like the governments, the structures, like life as we knew it was going to change. And then so when COVID came along, it did all this. So it was like, okay, well, this is what the astrologers were predicting. They didn't exactly know what it was, but they knew that something big was about to. So that was kind of the catalyst. And I guess what I'll say to that is, unfortunately, something like that kind of had to happen to help shift a bit of like awareness to everyone to see what is society actually built on, where are we giving our power away that maybe we shouldn't be. And so I think what's happened since then is we've all gone on our own collective kind of journeys into figuring out, well, what is it, who am I individually, what is the kind of world that we want to create. And we're kind of in the starting point of that, really.
Transition.
We're in that transition, and so it's bringing up a lot of dark, not very nice energy, I think, but we will work through it. And I know you'd get messages and know that as well, but I guess from an astrological perspective, we can see that we are building into a whole new Aquarian age. I don't know if
I've heard of that. Tell us about that.
Well, Pluto went into Aquarius last year, and Pluto transits in a sign every, I think, 20 to 24 years. So we've kind of started this whole, it's like Pluto represents the generation, so the baby boomers, the generation Y or whatever. So we've started this whole new generation, and so all the babies coming through now have this Pluto in Aquarius, and it's really it's trying to get us back to living in more smaller communities.
Oh, wow.
And taking the power back to the people, not allowing it to all this power to be held in the governments and in the big corps. So it's really inviting everyone to be living their unique selves, really. And that's where we're heading. I wouldn't say that maybe we won't necessarily see the results of it, but maybe in 2 or 3 generations time they will really be in that Aquarian kind of
because I've heard
vibration.
about this Aquarian, the time of Aquarius. I've heard about that a lot.
Yes, and we're in the transition point. You know, it's still going to be thousands.
Thousands of years.
Yeah, well, it's still got quite a bit of I don't know the exact amount of years, but we're in the transition of going into the Aquarian.
What do I hear? Softening? I'm hearing softening. A softening coming.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a very humanitarian energy.
Yeah, I hear softening. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really beautiful energy.
I heard softening. That's what I heard. And what quite interesting, we're going towards that time. I knew when you had the Christchurch shootings that something from that point on things are going to change.
Yes.
And they did. That was before things changed. And I thought the energy's changed.
Yes.
And then, when I was doing readings for, I think it was 2020, I kept saying, you're stuck. And I didn't know what it was, a bit like the astrologist. I guess I can't give anything for the future. I just keep getting, you're stuck.
Yes, yeah.
Just stay as you are.
Yeah.
I can see why now.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting, you don't even know what's happening, but you can feel something's changing.
Yes.
I like the idea of the Aquarius energy, and I like the idea of Aquarian age.
Yes.
And also the softening that Spirit just told me. That's cool.
Yes.
Okay. So, we talked about that. So, I want to go down a bit more into talking about our own personal astrology and other people, how to relate to them and all that sort of thing, getting an understanding. So how do the planets in astrology influence our lives? We talked a little bit about that. We can go delve into a bit deeper about that. How does these planets influence our day-to-day lives?
Yeah. So there's so many layers, and astrology is just full of layers. So what's happening right now, today, you've got that kind of affecting your chart. Then you've got your birthday every year, and that kind of sets a tone of how your year is looking as well.
Yeah.
So you've got that layer, and then you've also got progressions, which is all about where your soul is kind of evolved to at this point now. So even though you were born as a Capricorn sun, evolutionarily speaking, you would have probably evolved by now into a Taurus, I would say.
Right.
Taurus, or so there's different layers that astrology speaks to us. But I guess to summarize, like, the planets are always moving, and so there's always something happening. There's always change, and we know that change is the only constant. So
it is, It's interesting about the Taurus, because Tauruses are quite strong, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I was talking to my hairdresser the other day, and she said, I've known you for 15 years now.
Yeah.
And she said that you've changed so much, you've evolved, and you're a lot stronger and calmer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which is more Taurus-like, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. And I'm not 100% sure, but I'm guessing you would have evolved by now to at least, Taurus. It just depends on, like, what degree your sun was, if that makes sense, because it moves.
I've never had my chart done.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Have to get it done, won't I?
Yes.
Have to get it done. Okay, because I sort of felt that this, the energy of this year so far has, it's ending, because it's a 9, so it's about completion. But it feels it's been quite a fast energy. Am I right feeling that?
Well, there's so much Aries energy.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. So we've got, like, We've got so many planets. We've got Venus, Mercury, the sun's just moved in there, and we've got one last solar eclipse in Aries.
Wow.
So, and then we're going to have Neptune. That takes like 14 years to go through a sign. That's about to move into Aries at the end of this month.
Wow.
And then we've got Saturn moving into Aries, I think, in the next couple of months. So everyone in their chart will be hugely affected by the Aries part of their chart, but collectively that just means we are all kind of in this rush, need to start, need to get on, need to move, need to put my ideas out there, need to do this. So yeah, it's a very frantic. It's a very frantic energy.
And I felt it right from January onwards. It's like, because I tend to take January off, and I just felt I didn't stop. And I just said to my friend, it's just been a frantic energy.
Oh wow, yeah.
Go, 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 go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? So, because a lovely lady, she owns called Divine Goddess. She loves astrology down in Aruba, and she knows a lot about the astrology actually. And yeah, you go and see her, Caroline, and she says, "Oh, this is happening and that's happening, and people like that." And it's really quite fascinating how the planets affect you.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, well, I mean, right now we've got Venus retrograde in Aries, and we've got Mercury retrograde in Aries. So, the planets usually kind of fly through a sign, but when they go retrograde, it means that we're dealing even for a longer period of time with that energy. So yeah, the fact that we've got these planets retrograde, it's like, okay, we're looking into this Aries part of ourselves for an even longer transition.
So what's the Aries part of ourselves then?
Well, it depends on where it falls into your chart, really.
Right.
For someone it might be their relationships, for someone it might be their career,
So the Aries is it's a fire sign, isn't it? So it's quite a fast energy.
Yes, yeah. It's very impulsive and
impulsive. Okay.
Very courageous, very bold.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So this awful Mercury retrograde. I say to my children, they laugh at me, and I say it at work as well, because I say every time there's Mercury retrograde, I have a problem with my phone, my computer. Andre knows, I've talked to him about it, haven't I, Andre?
You have, yeah.
A lot, yeah. Mercury, and they just sort of roll their eyes.
Yeah.
But I tell you, because often they'll say to my kids, are saying, "Oh, something's happened, haven't you?"
Yeah.
They say something's happened. My computer's done this on my phone. I go, "It's Mercury retrograde," and my son's an engineer.
Oh,
I think so. Oh, okay, Mum.
Yeah.
Whatever. But can you tell us about that? Because, oh God, I just can't stand it. I don't know exactly what's going on and why it's so awful, but it does affect you, and it affects computers and things. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So Mercury retrograde, so much to unpack with that one. So usually I look at Mercury retrogrades as a really good time to slow down and not just keep pushing ahead. That's basically what Mercury's wanting to do. It's like, okay, hang on, let's just slow down here for a second. There's a few things that you've skipped and you've missed, and you're frantically out there. It's like, you forgot to do this, and you didn't send that, and so it's a good kind of time to go back and revisit things, and
So it's not all bad.
No, it's not all bad. And I think, again, if you're working with the planets and with the astrology, you're a lot more conscious about, okay, this is a Mercury retrograde time. This is not a time to really push a new idea. It might be a time of refining it and just going back over it. And then so when Mercury goes direct, it's like, okay, well, at least we know it's not retrograde, and we can give it a bit more of a push. But yeah, so you've got that aspect of it. You've also got I think of it as it's also kind of like jumping timelines, like you're kind of revisiting maybe friends that you haven't seen for years, or again, maybe there's like an idea that you had years ago, and then that kind of pops up again. You're like, why didn't I pursue that? Like, I really, So there's definitely magic to be found within a Mercury retrograde if you work with the energy a lot more.
I always hold on tight and dread it.
Yeah.
Now I know.
And like, for example, knowing that it's retrograde, you allow yourself more time. So if you've got an appointment to make, just allow an extra 20 minutes, because there's more likely to be a hold up or something, like in the traffic. Or maybe don't plan so much in a Mercury retrograde. But
Interesting.
I do think Mercury retrogrades to me are very much it's an intuitive time rather than a logical time. So the energy's turned inwards.
Right,
It's a lot
okay.
more of an introverted energy, and so that's why people aren't thinking so logically, because they're a lot more internal and they're using their intuition a lot more. So that's why there's a bit of communication mix-ups, because everyone's not really in their heads as much. They're a lot more kind of intuitive.
It's, what it reminds me of is, your body gets unwell. There's a lady, couldn't believe it. I was trying to keep away from her, and she went next to me, who was unwell. I thought, what are you doing at Pilates? You shouldn't be. Your body's telling. She says it's also that your body's telling you to slow down.
Yes.
And that's what happens. Your body takes you out.
Yes.
And if it bleeds, that's why you get sick, because you just push yourself. So it's a bit like retrograde's almost like that thing, isn't it? Like, just look after yourself.
Totally.
Yeah, it's a cozy time in a way.
Yes.
But wintry.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And each year Mercury will retrograde. It kind of has a theme. So this year, for example, Mercury will go retrograde in a lot of the fire signs, whereas maybe the year before it was in water signs. So you're not just getting this retrograde in the same area of your chart every year. It's kind of, they're always going through different areas.
Isn't there a general one where everybody says Mercury's in retrograde?
Yes, yeah.
And when's the next one? Just so I can be prepared.
They happen about 3 times a year. So yeah, every 3 months, I'd say.
Every 3 months?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You don't know when the next one is?
No, not off the top of my head.
Oh, okay. So to put you on the spot.
I feel like, I was born with a Mercury retrograde. So for me, the energy is a little more familiar.
Familiar.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right. So but why do computers go down? Or why does it affect IT? Because it seems to.
Yeah, I don't have a
specific
answer. I just, it's known to be very well, it's the planet of disruption. Well, it does have a bit of that disruptive, jokerish kind of energy. So I think of it more as a joke, like it's playing a bit of a joke on you, but it's not funny. But I think it's just playing tricks with you.
It's a bit like, I haven't got time to be sick, but your body makes you stop.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was really taken out once. I was supposed to go to some concert with my New Days with my husband, and my son's 21st was coming out. I was working, I was pushing. I had so much to do, and I ended up in hospital. And I managed to do everything anyway, but I just said, put me in hospital, give me a drip, and I'll go after the concert. That's what I was, and I couldn't. I was in hospital for a week.
Yeah.
So, and I guess it was the same sort of thing. Like, no.
I find it's more of a divine intervention.
Yeah. It's like an intervention. Yeah, that's what I mean. So I felt that, like, when I don't want to talk about being sick, but sometimes your body takes you out. It feels like Mercury retrograde can do a bit the same to stop you.
Yeah, totally. It's definitely there's
a positive reason.
There's a universal order of how things happen in a Mercury retrograde, which is why everyone's like, but it's like, well, actually things are panning out how they're meant to. And I think people just don't like the fact that they can't quite control what's happening in a Mercury retrograde, whereas when Mercury's direct, you feel a lot more in control. Right. You can control the order and the how events will play out. But Mercury retrograde, it's divine.
I get that. So you have to readjust.
Timing. Yes.
It's a bit like, you've got to re-update your phone.
Yes.
Or,
yeah, it is. You're getting an upgrade.
You're getting an upgrade. Yeah. Okay. I understand it now. Yeah. I don't feel so negative about it now.
Yeah. No,
now
I really like Mercury retrograde. I get people saying that to me all the time. I mean, the only things that you would probably not really want to do in a Mercury retrograde, if you can avoid it, is making, a big decision or signing, your life away on something that you don't quite know, because when Mercury goes direct, you might change your mind. So if you can control making big decisions, then
that's good to know.
Good to just wait for Mercury to go direct.
Yeah, it's very good advice.
Yeah,
thank you. I hope the listeners hear that as well. Okay, so I was going to ask you, do you think it's a good idea to consider another person's star sign before entering a relationship? Like, say, a committed relationship, yeah. Yeah,
like, again, it comes back to that whole understanding who someone is according to astrology. If you have that awareness, it's like, okay, this is maybe the flavour of what this person is like. I do think it does help you just bring maybe awareness to, because it takes so long to get to know someone, right? Like
Yeah, it
really,
does.
to really see their true colors, it will take years before you can kind
Do
of
you
see.
ever really?
Yeah, and do
Yeah.
yeah. So I think astrology is just one of the many tools that you can turn to that can bring a little bit more understanding
Insight.
and insight into that person.
So if somebody met someone they really like them, but it's the wrong star sign, we just say, oh no, don't enter that relationship.
No, obviously your soul, you've
Right,
got
yeah.
certain connections or contracts with people, but I do think it maybe just will help to understand, oh, okay, this is, maybe from a star sign perspective, these two don't naturally gel. But when you do look into a chart, it's like, well, what other things do gel? Like there's,
I think that's what John's friend did. He's a deceased now, but he did that for us, and because Sagittarius and Capricorns are generally compatible. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they're more of a fire is like, got that go. But if you've got a Gemini moon, that's actually
Well, I think my
really
husband pretty thinks I'm go. So
that's where you two
yeah.
meet. You've got that
Yeah.
kind of similarity. So that's where looking into the whole chart of a person starts to give you
Important.
a lot more of an insight as to how compatible actually
Yeah.
are you two.
Well,
Yeah.
he actually looked into it and said that we were.
Yeah.
And also Chinese astrology. What about that? Because I'm
I don't know much about it.
Yeah, because we're compatible with Chinese astrology.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. Yeah, no,
He's
that's
a
something.
monkey and I'm a rat or something. I don't like that. I don't thought of being a rat. That's awful. But
Yeah.
I should do something a bit more like a horse or something.
I think I'm a horse.
I might try to be a horse.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, it's definitely it's
A monkey sounds like fun. Yeah.
it's hot. It's like another whole new language. So I just stuck to the traditional astrology because Chinese astrology it's just
That's interesting though.
it's just a whole nother and it'll be same. They'll come to the similar conclusions in their way of analyzing. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. All right. So how is it best to handle a person who does stars do not align with you? You some people you just clash with, eh? You just clash with,
Yeah, I guess that's such.
I know there's people in my life I just clash with. It's just it never works.
Yeah.
I try, but it never works. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I get on with most people, but occasionally I get that one
Just
person.
that clash. Yeah. I mean, that's such like a personal question. I guess it's just how you deal with people in general, right? Like, again,
But can it be a star sign thing though?
Again, there will definitely be an element of their star sign, maybe just the energy
I've felt it
naturally
myself.
not,
I have felt it myself.
not naturally, bonding. But I guess my only thing I'd say is there will be something within your chart and their chart that does meet eye to eye, and maybe just
Right.
trying to find what that is.
What it
you know,
is, what we're at equilibrium.
yeah, like what is it about you two that you can see eye to eye
Yeah.
on? If you have to be around this person all the time, there will be something that you.
You've got to change accordingly.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
but that takes a lot of conscious awareness to be able to.
Well, it depends whether it's
Accept.
important or not.
Yes, yeah.
You've got to work with them more.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Well, sometimes it can be fair as well, because I had a supervisor and I said some people are quite almost aggressive when they come and see me, or quite skeptical, or quite sort of assertive.
Yeah.
And she said it's probably fair.
Yes.
It can be nervousness as well. It could be lots of things. And also something physical could be going on with them. There's all sorts of things.
Exactly. You don't know
They
what's
may
going
have
on in their life.
or maybe insecure or low self-esteem. You just don't know what it is, do you?
No, exactly. You don't.
It's so complex.
Yes.
It's not necessarily star sign, but it could be.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So interesting. I'm going to ask you about what about I quite like, and I used to read them avidly, my horoscopes in the newspaper or the magazines. Sometimes I found them to be quite accurate actually.
Oh,
What's your thoughts about
really?
that? Yeah,
I've only been told that they're rubbish and that they pull. I think it was the newspaper. They pull it out of a hat, kind of thing. That's what I've been told. I don't know.
I don't know, because it's interesting, because I do readings on spiritual decisions, and basically my latest thing, if it speaks to you, it's for you. And I could do a general reading about your week, and it'll talk to some people, it won't talk to others. So I just sort of feel it's a bit like that. If it's meant to be, it will.
Yes, yeah, maybe, yeah. If you're meant to read that and it's got some little message for you, then maybe that was just there at the right time. But
it's not something you do.
no, I don't.
You didn't take too much notice of it.
No.
I have looked at them. They have actually been quite accurate.
Yeah. Oh,
But I
that's
just
cool.
think I don't avidly seek my horoscope.
No.
In the newspaper, but if I do, I think that's really interesting. I just think it's a bit like that. Maybe I'm meant to look at that at that
Yeah,
time.
and who knows? Like maybe there are actually magazines out there that will pay for an astrologer. It just really depends on
Yes.
what it is. Like I don't
Yeah.
know what their processes of
Or what their
getting that
qualifications
information.
are.
And yeah, their qualifications. It's like, where are you getting this from? Yeah,
Yeah.
who's writing this? Yeah.
Yeah. But if it's meant for you, I think it will mean something to you.
Yes.
But it's
yeah.
not something, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
not.
you would suggest someone wants to know their horoscope or their astrology.
Mm.
So what's the difference between a horoscope and astrology?
Yeah, to go to get an astrological reading, we would look. It is kind of like a horoscope because we're looking at your year and seeing what's going on. But to get a weekly update, I mean, there's plenty of people or astrologers and apps out now that you can follow a weekly kind of horoscope. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would be following a specific astrologer for that. I wouldn't be relying on magazines for that to be really accurate
but you
about
can
what's
actually so what do you think about these apps then that you can get?
Yeah, I mean it's cool. There's so many really groovy, innovative astrology apps out now, and
How do you know which is the right one though?
I think I guess I've listened to these astrologers and they've obviously got, a huge following and they're that
credibility.
they've got credibility, yeah. So that's how I would know, but yeah, I don't know.
So what would be the difference like getting this app or going to someone like you? What's the benefit?
I mean, the benefit of going to someone like me, we will be very specific into your chart. So there's 12 signs in the zodiac, and so everyone who is born under a Aries rising is all being affected in a similar fashion for that month. So when you're reading a horoscope, that's giving you a bit of a broad outline as to every single Aries rising in the world. Whereas if you go to an astrologer, it's like, okay, we will look at your chart, but we'll actually be able to see what planets are being affected because that makes it more personal for you. So, for example, this recent lunar eclipse in Virgo, for a lot of Virgos that the moon kind of fell directly on one of their planets, they would have felt a lot more personally to other Virgos, for example. It does get quite specific when you're looking at your particular planets and what degree they're at, and
so it's more tailor-made.
Yeah.
And how often should someone go and see you?
Well, I think it's a nice thing to get for yourself every year around your birthday because that starts a whole new flavor of your year. So every birthday, and I think if you've got any kind of burning questions about wanting to time something, or if you're wanting to look into a relationship dynamic with someone, then that's another possible time to get a reading. But I
just have an interest in it in general.
I think it's something that you just want to keep on the pulse with every year, just being
so you can plan things too, maybe.
I love it for planning. I definitely have worked with many business women around planning when they're going to do certain projects or when it's a good time to do this, or so I love it for that.
But if you and your husband are quite different times of planning, that make it quite difficult.
You
have to sort of work around that somehow.
Right,
with different times of your partner, and you've got different timing to plan things, like a renovation or something.
I mean, I know it is interesting. For me and my partner, we've got like the way that our rising signs work is that actually we end up kind of needing those sorts of things, like working on the house at similar times. Like it's affecting it. So I do think of that. I'm like, I wonder how it works with other people where they've actually got really different kind of timelines going on. Like how do they make that work? So I do find that really interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Okay. All right. So also, when we're talking about birthdays, so you think I find that 2 weeks before my birthday, 2 weeks after, and other people can affect me. I can feel a bit out of sorts or something. Does that make sense to you? As a change, I can feel the change when we've been upgraded or something. I can't explain that. It sounds strange, but I can feel it.
They say, well, one of the books I was reading, it kind of said the 3 months before your birthday, you kind of start to feel the flavour. But I feel like for me, it's the month before.
Okay.
So yeah, so I think we all slightly it'll
Different,
pick up on it at maybe different kind
Yeah.
of times. Yeah, but it definitely that month before you.
And what about after?
Well, the month after, I mean, you're really in it.
Right,
You're in it. So
it's particularly beforehand, isn't it?
yeah, because it's that transition of
Yeah.
And I think some years the transition can be quite different.
Yeah.
Like there can be, certain things going on that year, and then the shift to this year of certain things can be very different to what was going. So that's depending on how easy that transition is into the next year.
I just found this frantic.
Yes.
That's all I got. I got frantic right from get-go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question now because this is called spiritual truths.
Mm.
And so everybody's got different spiritual truths. So what would you say is your spiritual truth? Oh, well, one of them, yeah.
I feel like for me, living authentically has been a huge one. And I think that's why I love astrology so much, because it allows us to accept people for their authentic selves and really nurture and nourish them. And that's kind of, that's why I've gone down homeopathy as well, because you're treating the individual for who they are, So
you find that your spiritual truth is being your authentic self.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
And accepting other people and respecting other people for being different or unique and being their authentic self.
Yes. I think that's one of the most loveliest things as you can do, is just really embrace someone for who they are and not,
expect them to be something different.
Them. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that spiritual truth. So I've got a card for you, and I talked to you about this earlier because I was unsure, but I felt your grandmother, it's Nana, on your father's side, and she joined with me because she's definitely quite different. She's definitely quite unique.
Yeah, she's rebellious.
Yeah, very unique. Yeah. And she's a bit driven by that. Yeah, and but being the authentic as well, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, and being strong.
Yeah.
And she says sometimes you feel guilty but don't.
Yeah.
Okay, because I feel that she gives you support.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, that's what I do feel. She said you'll be okay. I think she's very generous though.
Yeah, she does have.
She's
really
very generous and generally positive, but a wicked sense of humour. A really wicked sense of humour.
Yes, she does. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you've got a brother.
A sister.
I keep on picking up a man in your aura all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like felt like a brother person in your aura.
Okay, yeah. Like
I don't know who. Pardon?
Like a brother.
Yeah. That was your brother-in-law. But I get a brother in your personality,
right?
And your watching over you. So.
Oh, that's so nice.
Would be younger than you. So I don't know if your mum lost a baby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, she didn't tell me that she hasn't lost a baby, but
yeah, I felt that when you were sitting here. I felt there's a younger junior brother in your aura.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't prove that. Yeah. But that's what she showed me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. As well, and she's giving you roses as well.
That's so nice.
Yeah, and she says, stay true to yourself. But she said you're going to go far.
Oh.
Yeah,
so nice.
And keep being social.
Yeah.
yeah, keep being social. But she knows that you're very unique.
Yeah.
She knows and she was really unique, and she said you need to follow your strengths.
That's so cool. Yeah. I mean, because I was thinking about that this morning. It's kind of like, where did the astrology come from in my lineage, because there's no other astrologers that I know of.
She's really interested in it.
But she obviously, yeah,
she enjoys it.
Yeah. Yeah, she did.
enjoys
Yeah,
it.
she did enjoy.
Did she?
Yeah, I mean, she loved her magazines, and she would always read about.
There we
other
are. So
stars.
she enjoyed it. There
Yeah.
we are. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got number 24,
Mm-hmm.
which is very much about love and passion and family, actually,
Oh,
which
nice.
is really interesting. So she said, also, I feel you're quite a sensitive lady. I get a sense that you're very sensitive. And this is why I think that you went and got a psychic reading in the first place, because you could be really affected by other people. Would you understand that?
Totally, yeah, definitely. It kind of gave
Yeah.
me a bit more of an anchor and a grounding, because I definitely get
We
affected.
got quite affected by other
every-
people and a
yeah.
lot of noise. I think she was quite tough, this lady.
Yes, yeah,
A lot tougher than you.
yes.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Okay. She said, remember to laugh. Okay. So that's what she's saying to you. She's giving you a bit of wisdom, a bit of insight. And she's saying, sometimes you need to take care. Not everyone lives in love. They choose fear. So what she's saying is that even though you live your authentic self, and you love other people to be their authentic selves, but not everybody comes from a place of love.
Yes, yeah.
She said, you'll be all right. But she wants you to be aware of that.
Yes, that's so true.
Okay, she's letting you know that. And she said, sometimes it makes you sad.
Yes.
Okay, but...
Yeah.
And she said, just breathe. Okay, she said, life to them is a game. To them, it's more important to be noticed and have fame.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And she goes, like that. Okay? She's funny, isn't she?
Yeah.
I think she could really. She said some people are full of excuses as well. Okay?
Yes.
So not everybody comes from who you are.
No.
And that confuses you.
Yes.
And she's saying also, she's giving you insight, they have lost the truth of what life is all about. You already know this. It's something you've felt. Protect yourself from those that cause harm. Do it as best. Choose to stay calm. Now, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I do feel like from my generation, I think, we've got so much social media and all those things. I think a lot of people have lost the meaning of just the simple life and what it's really about. And so that's where I do relate to that message a lot, because it's like, I feel like I understand more what life's about, but so many people are just swept up in like trying to fit in and, the coolest TikTok or
Yeah. And she said sometimes silence is better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming. Also, I just want to ask, how can people get hold of you in case they want to?
Yes. Reading. Yeah. So sweetmanastrology.com is my.
How do you spell your Sweetman, just so they know?
SweetMan.
Yeah.
Yep. So sweetmanastrology.com if you want to book a reading, or I am on Facebook and I'm more active on Instagram.
Yeah, so people can come and see you in person.
Yes.
Right,
yep.
okay.
They can see me in person or via Zoom.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And we'll be in touch.
Thanks for letting me speak my truth.
Okay, darling.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.